Bizzy Ron reactions. What's your take on this?
All right, guys. So we just watched Good Boy. A lot of thoughts I feel like are going kind of between both of us right now. But yeah, I mean, in the sense where the concept is just it's unique, it's fun, like a horror movie from the dog's perspective. Like that's always great, but I don't know. There was just a lot of moments where I was worried about the dog's well-being, and I think that's what obviously gets us on the edge of our seats because we're like, all right, if something happens to the owner, it's like it's kind of expected. But when you start beating around a dog, it's like we don't want to see that. But at the end of the day, you look past the dog. It's just very quiet, very silent. This movie was, and although there was a lot of things to enjoy about it, I feel like there was a like outside of our boy Indy, there wasn't much to sink your teeth into. And that's not necessarily a bad thing because I was 100% locked in with this dog. This dog, like I think you kept saying this too, man. I mean, like it's a good acting dog. Like our boy Indy got some chops, bro. And I think overall, I did have fun with this movie. I mean, it's kind of what I expected going into it, so I'm content.
Yeah, I think that I mean the strong suits. I think absolutely the dog is very disciplined. Like every single moment that the dog was supposed to feel fear, you sensed it. It didn't seem CG at any moment. I felt like the dog was truly us. But it's kind of like a dog can only do but so much. It can't, ask for help. It can't say I'm scared. And I think the thing that makes it very interesting, the concept of Good Boy, is that dogs are naturally faithful. So it's like the dog consistently throughout this movie was torn between its own safety and fear, and at the same time like wanted to be there for the owner. Which, I mean, for me, if you are a pet owner or a dog owner, it invokes this like, man, he needs a hug, man, he needs a good pat on the back. Like he needs to be nurtured right now because this dog has gone through some hellish trauma. But I
Hmm.
think the other thing that I would give the positive of the film is the camera work. Like the camera
Mm.
work stayed consistent through his level. Like it was at
Point of
his
view, yeah.
level. You never were really consistently looking up at the owner's face. You mean rarely saw the owner's face. And even any other human. And I think because it's at his eye level. And I think that from a technical standpoint, that's hard to do and also keep it engaging because at all times, like for a fact the dog's got really good senses. But how do you really display that from a camera standpoint? That was hard to do. And I think that the theme of it, like the score was a really ominous theme as well. So when there was like quiet moments, it worked well. And then I think the thing that I'll say from a directing standpoint, it was a really big positive, was that if you really paid attention, like to phone conversations or the videotapes or scenery, or pay close attention to just what you're seeing, you can tell like what's the actual story without spoiling it. Like what's really going on from like the previous owner of the house or like another creature involved. Like they telegraph a lot. I do think that the negative would be like some of the CG towards like some of the supernatural stuff. I think when that CG started being exposed, it was a little, weak. I mean, you want to have some kind of closure and payoff as well. You don't necessarily get that in this film. Um, but again, the star of it was the dog. You invoked every kind of emotion you could through
Mhm.
the lens of a freaking dog, and we're supposed to feel something, and we do. So
Yeah, and I think on top of feeling it for the dog, I mean, it's just a very complicated situation, of just a simple story of the canine saying goodbye to his pal, because
yeah,
at the end of the day, it's a little more complicated than just being possessed. As we know that the owner was going through some stuff, clearly was sick, clearly is dying, just ups and takes his dog into the middle of the woods. Anytime you go to the middle of the woods, some crazy shit's gonna happen. Some crazy stuff is going to happen. It's not always the best idea, and we slowly see things kind of like start to fall apart. And um, one person we don't see much of, but ended up being a very big part of the story as well, is the sister,
yeah,
who we hear a majority of her
you're
voice.
right.
She's the one who's kind of like saying exactly probably what the dog is thinking.
Yeah,
She's like, "Oh, well, if he's acting this way, if you think he's acting weird, there's probably a reason for it, and maybe we should listen to the dog
right.
and turn around. Why the hell are you at grandpa's?" She's just asking all the questions that should be asked, and I think that's very impressive to do for a character that's not really on screen for her to be the one who's kind of like, I guess, speaking for the main character, which of course is our boy Indy.
Yeah.
Um, Indy being, of course, a dog. I was just utterly impressed with what they were able to do with it. Because I mean, there was a point where me and you, I think, both looked to each other and we were like, okay, is this gonna be like a silent film? Like, are we not gonna get much dialogue at all?
Right.
And they still managed to throw in some lines throughout the film, and of course, they seemed impactful at times, and of course, it leading to the sister finding them at the end, which ended up with our boy Indy being safe. But him making it through the movie was really all I cared about, and I'm glad that that's what we got. So I'll take it as a win.
Yeah, I'll just say that, the dog was a star. Technically, it was really good. Some spotty CG. I didn't necessarily like the ending of it, but it was a very thrilling and engaging terror ride. And I felt
Mhm.
bad for a lot of the things that this little dog had to go through. So if I had to give it a rating, I'd give it like a B minus. I think it was for what it gave me. I was terrified majority of the time.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna say the same thing. I'm a 6, maybe even a 7 out of 10. It's just it's for a 70-minute movie. It just felt so much longer than it really was, which isn't necessarily or always a bad thing. But I think I was just left expecting a little more, but at the same time, just um, I'm content. I'm content with what we got. But at the end of the day, 100% could have been better.
Yeah.
Uh, But as for a lot of the shots that we've gotten, like some choices, I guess, that were made, especially like the camera work, I was really impressed with a
Yeah.
lot of the scenes that we got. A lot of times where they were like zooming in on the demon or whatever the monster, and then the frame would kind of focus in, and it turned out to be the hunter or just something different. Like some of the work that they did here from like I guess from a technical standpoint, it was impressive, and I will give them their flowers for that. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, again, nothing crazy special, but I still had a decent time with it, and it was fun to see. Of course, my boy Sam getting a little
Yeah.
freaked out with the jump scares and stuff. So that's always a blast
I don't
when you
want
have
to hear
somebody
it.
freaking out. Yeah.
I just think that they did something that I think is very unique that nobody's ever tried before. And I think that as they continue to try to do stuff like this, they'll hone that craft and this will be a different market of horror. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, I don't got anything else. Yeah.
No, I think we're good, man. I think we're good. But I appreciate you guys tuning in on the review. Of course, eventually maybe we'll put up this reaction because I got to see Sam's face. And of course, just keep an eye out for reviews not only over here on JVS or on my channel, but of course on Team JVS's website. So stay tuned. That's good, boy. I had fun. Yeah. Peace out,
Peace,
guys.
y'all. Later.